I have a problem. Just like every other gearhead, I'm addicted to buying shit boxes and trying to bring them back to life when they're probably way too far gone already. But that's exactly what we're doing here today. 2007 Honda CRF 50 with a big bore 110 kit on it. That was a lie because we have no idea what this thing is. The seller that I got it from hasn't had it running. It's been sitting for years. Nobody knows anything about it. I've been trying to look up the chassis and figure out what this thing could possibly be. This VIN number on here pulls up absolutely nothing. I'm 90% certain it's a Chinese bike. I have found some things deep in the forum archives that suggest maybe this thing might be a European chassis, but this is definitely a Chinese motor, which is my weakness, boys. I love broken Chinese shit. Figured out that this is a 3-speed electric start 110 Leafin. Parts are pretty universal and plentiful. I think we shouldn't struggle to get this thing up and going. I have some Chinese pit bike parts laying around. It's been sitting for years, so we're gonna dig into that and see what it needs and get it popping wheelies today. This rear brake line is busted. The brake handle is broken and missing. There's no battery. It's grimy and crusty as hell. The petcock is hot glued on and leaks, and it doesn't run. Shocker. So when I hooked my peepers on it, it was love at first sight. I had to have it, so I went and bought it, and we're gonna try and breathe new life into it. The goal for today, don't spend any more money. Use what we got here in the garage, get it up and running, drive it without any brakes, crash it, and not unalive myself. First things first, drain the oil, make sure that this thing's even healthy enough to try and bring back to life. See how much metal we got in the oil. It actually looks pretty clean. Not bad at all. Looks like there's relatively low hours on it, but it does reek like fuel. Staying true to the nature of the build, I got about a half quart of Lucas motorcycle oil laying around, so we'll fill this thing up and hope it's enough.
Gotcha, bitch!
Well, look, I'm filming, so it's time for my neighbors to mow the lawn. Alright, I don't have a compression tester, so we're gonna kick it over and go by feel if it feels like it has enough compression to run. This Kickstarter's got a little bit of play in it, so we're gonna tighten this up, get the kick in. That feels better. Yeah, I would say feels healthy. Alright, compression feels good, so we're gonna pull the plug and see if we got spark. It's an NGK too, so we do got some JDM parts on here. Gang. Plug's looking a little rough. Looks like it was running rich. Maybe burn a little bit of oil. We finna see. Alright boys, it was really hard to see on the camera, but take my word for it, we absolutely do have spark. So compression, check, spark, check. Let's move on to fuel. And as we've seen before, this petcock is all glued up. The guy did tell me that it did leak. And sweet baby Jesus has prevailed.
Dear Lord baby Jesus, we thank you so much for this bountiful harvest.
And it did come with an extra fuel tank. Now it didn't have a petcock on it. I sold this one out of the Amazon pit bike. So that one's basically brand new. So hopefully that one don't leak. Slam this tank back on, get some gas in it, and we might be there, boys. Yeet. Oh. Got some fuel in it. New petcock don't seem to be leaking. Let's make sure we got flow. Oh yeah, she's a ripper. I'm gonna pull out this fuel filter. Who knows how old this thing is. We got a couple extras. We got the old crunchy fuel filter off here. Got a new used one that I know is good. Slammed on there, so open up the fuel. See if this thing wants to run. I'm gonna hit her with some starting fluid. If she barks off, then we know we got a fuel delivery problem. Hey. Alright, well, it's definitely an issue in the carb because she barks on starting fluid. Let's see if we're getting fuel to the bowl. Yeah, there's fuel in there. Let's pop this carb off and go through it. Ooh, standard of Japan. Got a JDM carb on here, brother? Hell yeah. Oh, baby. There's some varnish in there for sure. Let that soak. Well, I mean, that's good, because if this is clean and no issues, then like, all right, now what? Oh yeah, that pilot jet is plugged up. That's why she ain't idling. Main jet's plugged up too. This whole carb is trashed. Alright boys, I'm pretty confident that the carb was the issue the whole time. I had my suspicions from the beginning. On these old bikes that have been sitting for a while, that's usually the case, but I like to go through everything just so you get a general idea of the overall condition of the bike and the health of the motor. But those jets were 100% clogged up, the pilot and the main jet. So, without further ado, let's kick it over and see if we can get it to run. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. If you didn't, double click the dislike button. Wheels on, keys on. See what happens. Choke might be a good idea. There she is, boys. She's running. Purring like a kitten. Chinese muscle, baby. Alright, boys. She runs. Before we take it for the first test drive, there's some adjustments I'm going to make on some things to give us a little better experience. Try and make this thing good. First thing, I ain't going to lie to you. I dropped this motherfucker before. So, shifter is bent, so I'm going to take that off, bend it back straight. Probably bent her a little too much back the other way. Rip. And in true Chinese suspension fashion, this thing is set to all the way soft. So I'm gonna crank up the preload so it's as stiff as we can go. As it sits now, your boy's kind of a pig, so when he sits on it, it squats like a GMT 800 from the Carolinas. All right, we're cranked all the way up. Fat boy approved. And 3, these handlebars are kind of rolled way back. That ain't comfortable for me, so I'm loosening them up and tilting back forward a little bit. Dang, some of these are pretty loose already. There, that's more gooder. Might be a little aggressive on the forward roll, but should be alright. Alright boys, we made our little tweaks. Let's take this thing for the first rip. See if she's a piece. Cool. First kick. What a unit. Speed. The first gear is useless. This thing sucks. The raccoon. Hey, buddy. The baby This thing is ass. This thing fucking sucks. Gutless, but it is a 4-speed. I thought it was a 3-speed. It's got very little balls. This air filter seems pretty restrictive. It's carbs, just like a little OEM carb. I do got a Nibby carb. Maybe we slam a Nibby on this bad boy and see if she's got more nuts in her. All right, boys, this is the carb we took off, and here's the Nibby situation we're dealing with here. Nibby carb is obviously much bigger, which is good, right? But the intake manifold is too small. So if we take our little spacer here, oh Jesus, you can see it is not port matched, which will definitely cause dirty air in the intake manifold, probably run like shit. So we're gonna try and port match this a little bit because I can't help myself other than to f with shit. So here we go. All right, boys. I have done it. This car might be way too much for this bike, but we in the pursuit of more horsepower, baby. All right, boys, intake manifold is on. Getting ready to put the Nibby on. This is the needle. This ran great on my 125, but this is a little bit smaller motor. The exhaust is pretty restrictive, so I'm going to move the C-clip up a little bit so it gets a little bit less fuel because I think it might be just set up too rich for this motor. All right, it was one from the bottom. I moved it up one notch. We'll get this bad boy in here and see if she runs. All right, boys, the Nibby carb is on, throttle cable adjusted, intake manifold ported, fuel lines are all hooked up. Fingers crossed. Here is nothing, boys. Oh, it would help if I turned ignition on. Hey. Right when you crack the throttle, it seems a little boggy, so we might have to play with the idle air screw a little bit, or the air fuel mixture, whatever the fuck, but it might be there. What a piece of shit. Feel like it's got a little bit more, but I still feel like it's being choked up, and we know it ain't because of the carb. This pipe here, it's a little teeny tiny baby exit on there. So we gotta lop this off or find something else to put on there, but I think it's definitely being choked up still. We got it running. We even tried to do a little bit of upgrades on there. The Nibby PE22 on this unit. We just used everything I had laying around the garage, robbed some parts off of other projects. So we accomplished our goal for the day. Eat all your peaches and pizza. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.